Welcome guys to another one of my very straight to the point reviews. Usually don't do them all in one take. I ain't got time to do multiple takes, as you guys probably already know. It's been a while since I posted a review, so just thought I'd share something that I've been using quite a lot over the past couple of years, and maybe it will help you make a more informed decision. So today we're looking at duplex headsets and why they're important, why I think you probably need them for depending on what type of work you're doing. So usually I'm doing a lot of weddings or corporate events, and what a duplex headset is essentially is a walkie-talkie, right, or a mobile phone device. You can both talk at the same time, and in an environment where it could be a little bit noisy, it just helps clear things up. So looking at these headsets first, started using them a couple of years ago when we used to do weddings, and you're at a big event. It's sometimes difficult to communicate with each other. I know you're using sign language, like waving at each other, but it's just easier when you can talk to somebody and say, look, so-and-so is ready, we're coming, or something's happening and get ready. Similar for corporate events, doing a few boxing events as well. And when people are filming, it's just always good to know you can hear people tell you, so-and-so is about to make his entrance, or can you capture something specific? Another good example is live TV. I've been filming a few live TV events where you will have one of the duplex headsets on, and somebody will tell you, now we're about to come to your camera. And then that's the point where you need to keep it steady or keep it simple, whatever your task is. So those are duplex headsets, excellent to use, but we've got quite a few choices, especially in the budget option. We've got today a Saramonic Witalk, the brand new Hollyland Se global version, and we've got a Synco xtalk, which is essentially a copy of the Hollyland. So going to talk you through the pros and cons, and I've also used this Hollyland Se Pro. I've also used the Hollyland Se regular version, so I have some experience and I can talk to you about what the differences are. Firstly, very important is the frequency they run at. These both run at 2.4 gigahertz. So the Hollyland Se global version, that I keep calling it that, it runs at 2.4 gig, and the Synco, which is just a copy of everything Hollyland do, is also running at 2.4 gig. The Saramonic, which is reasonably priced, probably costs a little bit more than these two, but by a fraction, this runs at 1.9 gig, and why that's important we'll get to in a minute. So when you're testing these, unless you've got them in your hands, it's sometimes difficult to see what the difference between 2.4 gig and 1.9 gig is. Now, if you're in a busy environment, let's say a boxing match or something, there's hundreds of devices there. Loads of people will be on 2.4 gigahertz. And what ends up happening is you get a lot of interference, and it cuts out, in my opinion, a bit too frequently. I did a we'll call it a scientific test, where I put the headsets on a microphone, playing a speaker, and I went for a walk to see how far I could get before they cut out. Both the 2.4 gigahertz cut out much quicker than the 1.9 gigahertz did. And also the choppiness of the 2.4 before it cut out was quite evident. I know they claim 300 meters, but that'll be in a single room line of sight. Sometimes we do need to walk through buildings, so I've probably walked 100 meters, and both these have cut out. By about 50 meters, they're both choppy, so the audio is not very clear. You know what choppy signal is, right? Whereas 1.9 probably got all the way to about 80 to 90 meters before it got choppy, and then it just cut out straight out around about 100 meters time. So that's very important, because if you are in a busy environment, which is the idea of having these, if you're in a small place that's quiet, you could just talk, you don't need them, then you don't want the audio to be choppy, you don't want there to be interference. So that is the biggest selling point of all of these. Before we go into what features they have, you want to be able to hear what you're saying clearly. You know, communication is the number one sales pitch. So already I'm probably telling you right now, the best one for audio by far is the Saramonic, because it's running on a totally different frequency and there's very little interference on that at the moment. And then comes issue number 2 with anything that's 2.4 gig. The Hollyland has about a 0.5 second delay. So if you're in the same room as somebody and you're talking to them, their lips won't add up. Half a second isn't actually too bad, but it is definitely off-putting. If you're looking at somebody, it's off-putting. They're talking, and if things don't match up, think of one of those Japanese kung fu films. So that's a bit off-putting, but also it's not just what you can see. Because when you talk to somebody, say you're in the same room and it's a big room, their voice still transfers to you. Let's say you're 20, 30 yards away. You know, you can hear it a little bit, and then you can hear it loud through the headset. So it causes a small little echo if you're in the same room. If you're not looking at people, it's fine. But yeah, if you're in the same room, then it's not ideal. Just check if that is still in focus here. So that's already a downside to the Hollyland. Half a second delay. As you're talking, maybe it's less, maybe it's like 0.3, 0.4 seconds, but there is a small delay. Now the Synco, which copied the Hollyland, obviously did a worse job, because the delay on this is more than the Hollyland. So the delay on the Synco is, you know, I'm not doing a scientific analysis here, but it's more. So if, let's say, if this was half a second, this is a second. So it's, when you're in the same room, it's off-putting. We are talking to people and it's like, just mute your mic. I'd rather just talk to you. And then the whole point of it is, so even if you're close to each other, let's say you're sitting in your room and I'm just talking, even if we're close to each other, you still want to use this because it just makes your conversation much clearer and louder. But you can't with the Synco because it's like totally out of sync. Totally out of sync for Synco. Pun intended. So yeah, that's a bit of a downside. The only pro side to the Synco is you can change the earpiece to a softer one. They copied that bit from the Hollyland C1 and C1 Pro. For the SE global version, I keep saying that, but I'll get to that in a minute. You can change these rubber things to the soft ones, or can you? No, I'll end up breaking it. However, there's a caveat with the Hollyland SE global version. There's also somewhere in the wilderness Hollyland SE non-global version, which runs at 1.9 gigahertz. And if you can find that, buy that. That's better. Is it better than the Saramonic Witalk? Possibly. Let's just say out of these three, you're not buying the Synco, right? Unless you're on a budget, because they are cheap. They come in a nice case as well. You can get 5 of these Synco ones for around about £350 to £400. Where 424 or 425 is the price of the Hollyland. That's 2.4 gig, which you don't really want to buy. But they do come in a 1.9 gigahertz when I've actually used one. That's why I was a bit confused what that was doing out in the wilderness. They're not so easy to get a hold of. Maybe you'll find one on some of these second-hand auction sites. Definitely won't get one off Amazon because that would be a Hollyland official store, so they'll only send you the other stuff. But there is a 1.9 gig Hollyland SE in the wilderness, and out of these two, I'd probably buy that just because it's a little bit smaller and it's got a decent microphone noise cancelling. This global version, fairly poor on the noise cancelling as well. It says it's got it, but I don't know, it doesn't seem to work very well. So moving on to the Saramonic, I guess I'm just selling you the audio quality. I'm not talking about the features and comfort. Those things are important for long-term use. You know, the Hollyland is going to be the most comfortable because it's got a nice little soft other side to it and very light. In terms of lightness, this is only fractionally heavier, but Saramonic have put a pretty hard rubber bit on the other side. I don't know who thought that would be comfortable. I've seen people wearing these on their ears, and over a prolonged period, in 5-10 minutes, I'm annoyed at that already. So the way I wear mine is on my head, just above my ear, and I think it's fine. But what I would have preferred was an interchangeable cushion thing here, like you can. What time is it? I'll make sure don't forget the kids at school. The Saramonic has got that option where you could take this off and put this soft bit here. So out of all three of these, bizarrely, the Synco one is probably the most comfortable, but it's got the worst lag. So shit. So yeah, if you're on a budget duplex system, that's basically what I've got to say. The budget options are Synco, Hollyland Se, and the Saramonic. Out of all of these, if you could find a Hollyland Se 1.9 gig, buy that. If not, definitely buy the Saramonic. You know, the thing's pretty much perfect, apart from it's just bigger. It's fairly light, so I don't know why they needed to make it this big. But like I say, for me it's comfortable, but I would have preferred soft pad. If you're going for a Hollyland C1, which is also good, just be aware that I have seen several people with broken ones. They've all got sellotape and stuff attached to them. So the reliability of the regular Hollyland C1, which is quite expensive piece of kit, 4 of those would probably cost you about £800-900. Reliability is a question mark. They also don't have any noise cancellation on the microphone. So let's say you're in a noisy-ish environment, as soon as you turn the mic on, you can hear everything. Whereas this has some basic noise cancellation. The Hollyland said it's got it, but I don't know. I don't think it's working very well on this global version. It worked very good on the 1.9 gig. And then there is a C1 Pro, which has basically got everything. Noise cancelling, yada, yada, yada. But they're over £1,000 for 4, so that's it. They all come with nice cases as well. I think that's always nice to have a nice case. The Hollyland's got a very nice case. The Synco's got a nice case. Saramonic, I don't know what you're shipping this shit plastic case for. But you can buy one of these cases, a Saramonic one, separate. Isn't too expensive, it's £30, so I've done that. And that's it. That's a fairly straightforward review of duplex systems. Headsets, you can have 5 on the Hollyland. The Synco is, I don't know how many more you want of those, because you're all out of sync. And the Saramonic, I've seen them up to 9, but you can buy a base station for this Saramonic where you put it, somewhere in the middle of the room, and then it can extend the range. I'm sure that bloody eye autofocus is focusing somewhere else. Yeah, so I hope that was informative. I hope you'll be able to narrow some choices down if you're looking to buy a duplex system. Obviously, I'd recommend the Saramonic of the ones I've got here. And yeah, the ones I haven't got, which I have used, I'll repeat myself. If you can find the 1.9 gig Hollyland, just go for that. Thank you for watching. Now I probably will come out with a few more reviews as I've got a bit more time on my hands on weekdays. I've got a lot of gear to test, and just give me a shout up if there's anything specific you want to see. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Also, sorry, that was a rubbish cutaway, but I forgot to mention that generally whatever Hollyland do, DJI do later too. So I can imagine DJI dropping one of these headsets very shortly. And with their wireless technology they've got, they'd blow all of these out of the park really, especially with the range and everything, because they've just released that SDI video transmitter kit. They're fairly reasonably priced. So I can see, watch this space, DJI dropping a duplex headset of their own using their own tech. And range-wise, that's just going to destroy everything else. But DJI do follow Hollyland pretty much everything they do. So whereas Synco's copying Hollyland, DJI seems to be copying Hollyland as well. So stay tuned. Thank you.